Well, it is officially week 2 of Diddy's trial. And let me just tell you guys, it's just heating up. It is just heating up. The longer this week goes on, every single day, I have just been on the edge of my seat waiting to hear who's testifying and what the details are coming out every single day. And so this is week 2, but there are 8 weeks of trial is what is anticipated for this case. So we have a long, long ways to go and a lot of dirty, dirty details to get through. So we're going to start getting through it today. Some of you guys know that I've been following this case for a very long time, since we all first heard about it, I guess. And I have a lot of videos on it and a whole playlist if you all want to go back and watch some of this stuff from like when he was first arrested. There's a lot more information in there, but I will say it is not to make it about me, but like it is a little satisfying that some of the stuff that I talked about in those videos has been confirmed already in some of these trials. So yeah, I'm ready to get into this, and I hope you guys are too. Make sure you guys check in with the chat. We have Sadia, one of my lovely patrons and sweet, sweet friend, who's moderating for us tonight. So thank you, Sadia, so much for taking care of that for me today. It makes my job a lot easier. So are you guys excited to get started? Thank you for noticing my bunny top. We have new merch just released to the public today. The website is now live. So yeah, you guys should go check that out while we shop in one tab and hear all of this crazy shit in another. So let me get all my stuff up here today. Have a lot of documents, a lot of videos to get through. So hopefully everything plays correctly. I'm a millennial. I'm doing my best here, so stay with me, okay? So Diddy has pled guilty to 5 different counts, or 5 different charges so far. I have my theories about what might happen halfway through this case, but we'll get to that. So he has pled guilty to 5 counts, and I'm just going to read them from me. If you guys see me looking over here, I have all my notes so I can keep my brain semi-organized. That is a challenge at this point in the day. So 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. So I'm going to walk you through all of these details and everything that we've seen in the courtroom this week. Obviously, last week was the first week of his trial, and I did not do a live last week. But there are a couple people you can go watch their videos on, since I did not cover it myself. Law and Crime is one, and then why am I drawing a blank on her name? Stephanie Sue, or Rotten Mango, I believe is her name on YouTube, but you can go watch her. She's actually part of the media inside the courtroom for Diddy's trial. So since cameras are not allowed in the courtroom, she's in there every single day. And so she gives really great detailed reporting. Now her videos are like sometimes 2 hours long, very long. But when they get out of court every day, she'll give really great reporting, detailed reporting on like his mannerisms, who he's looking at, who's in the courtroom, what the jury's doing, how they're responding, their facial expressions. And I love those kinds of like dirty, dirty details. So yeah, if y'all are into that kind of thing, definitely go check those people out. I do plan to cover this case every week moving forward. But let's start with this week, shall we? Let's start with this week. Make sure you give the video a like and leave a comment. Really helps the algorithm push it out more, and yeah, helps me pay my bills. Oh, it's good to see all these familiar faces in the comments too. Sadia and Lissa, 2 of my faves right there. Good to have you guys. Okay, so let's get into it. Where should we start? Oh, I know. I think before we get started, what do you guys say, since this is like really heavy stuff that we're talking about? How about this guy? Why is the video? Yeah, cute bunnies. Why not? Have a bunny on my shirt. Worked out really, really well. If Amanda watches this, she'll know. Okay, so back to the notes here. Thank you for staying patient with me is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So the judge that is overseeing this case, let's start with this first. So the judge that's overseeing the case for Diddy is also the judge that's the current judge for the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni case. So that's just an interesting little tidbit. I find it very interesting that there's a lot of overlap with celebrity cases, and I don't know enough about being a judge. I do judge, that I will say, but a judge that yeah, I guess there's just certain ones that are qualified to do certain profile cases. I don't know. But also Diddy's lawyer, in case some of y'all need a brush up, Diddy's lawyer is also married to Luigi's lawyer. So it's the husband-wife team. Yeah. So a lot of celebrity or like I don't even want to say celebrity, like high profile cases are being represented by the same attorneys a lot of times. And if anyone knows why that is, I would love for you to inform me. Please enlighten me, because why though? You know, why? So we started this week trial. We're just going to go through it day by day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today Thursday. So let's start with Monday. So Monday started the testimony started with making the band singer Dawn Richards. I believe she started testifying last week, but then she was back on this week. So let me go. I have plenty of pictures to show you guys. Let me go make sure I have them popped up over here. So I believe it's this one. Here we go. Yes. Okay. So this is Dawn Richards. So she's also in an ongoing civil lawsuit against Diddy. And according to Dawn, according to her testimony, she says that he sexually assaulted her, deprived her of food and sleep, and refused to pay her for work that she did for him. So that's real interesting. And then he also would threaten to ruin her entire career if she didn't listen, if she stepped out of line, if she just didn't do what he said, essentially. So that's a freaking problem. But we see that a lot in this case. I think every single person that's testified or has experience with Diddy has said very, very similar things. Like they get threatened if they don't do what he says. Again, covered all of this in previous Diddy videos that I did. But yeah, he has a history of this, allegedly. Yeah. So she testified for 2.5 hours, which had to be absolutely exhausting. But she said that during her testimony, she said that she frequently witnessed the abuse against Cassie firsthand. So Cassie and Diddy used to be a couple. Let me pull up. This is Cassie right now. So, and we'll talk about her in a minute, but this is his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. So Dawn is testifying that she witnessed the abuse against Cassie by Diddy. Okay, so that's the correlation here. That's the connection. Where am I? Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, so she's witnessing this firsthand, according to her. And I have a video. I've been having some tech issues a little bit with playing these videos, but I'm going to try to share a screen with you guys so you guys can hear some of what they said word for word in the testimony. I think that's the best way to do it, because I personally don't, just to be fully transparent, it's heavy shit, and I don't want to have to read all of this myself. Like, dead, just say it how it is. And I have that one right here. So let me pull this one up for you guys. Let me know what you guys are up to tonight. I'm interested to hear on a Thursday evening how crazy you guys are getting out here. Yep. Okay. I got it. And let me know in the chat that you can hear this okay. All right. I'm going to go over here.
When Mr. Combs told you people could go missing, how did you interpret it?
That people could die. I couldn't believe that this could be the beginning of a journey for us.
As Diddy Dirty Money?
Yes.
What did you observe?
He would drag her and kick her and punch her in the mouth.
What would prompt these acts of violence?
At this moment, the defense objected, but was overruled.
When she would speak up for herself.
Who in security witnessed these things?
D-Rock and Bonds.
Where did Ms. Ventura get hit?
Her knees, her face, all over.
Did there come a time you were in NY for a festival?
Yes, in Central Park.
In the residence. What happened?
He punched Cassie. She came into the bathroom crying. You could see her upset, like she was hurt.
What injuries did you observe?
Swollen eye.
Why'd you remain with Ms. Ventura?
Okay, so this is just, again, since no cameras are allowed in the courtroom, this is just basically the transcription of what is taking place in the courtroom. And so this is Dawn testifying about the abuse that she witnessed against Cassie. Very, very violent, as you heard. Anytime Cassie stepped out of line. It's really upsetting. Okay. It's really upsetting. She actually went through kind of like a timeline of the various instances that she witnessed. So that was one of them, but there's multiple because she spent kind of years in this life and around them. So at some point he got very comfortable acting this way around a lot of people. And that's the thing that really blows my mind about all of this is just so many people knew. So like, and you'll find that out even through this testimony, like people are testifying who openly admit that they witnessed all of this and then didn't do anything, didn't speak up for Cassie, and were paid off. There's a lot of paying off that goes on here. Because I guess Diddy had plenty of cash and he would just hush money is like his go-to. Swear to God, just give me 5 minutes. I just want to talk to him for 5 freaking minutes. So, let me go to this next one with her because there's another instance I want to share with you guys here. Why is this not working? I'm sorry, guys. Stay patient. Stay patient. I appreciate you. Lissa, thank you for your order. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Sadia ordered the other day too. And then now Lissa. You guys know. You guys know you're my faves, right? Okay. I put all of these in order before I started the live just so nothing would be out of order. But I am working with 2 monitors and I'm by myself. And people who stream like this and share a lot of video clips usually have someone helping them with it. And so I'm sorry. I don't. I'm not cool like that yet. One day, guys. In the meantime, I'm just going to try my best. Just going to try my freaking best.
The incident in 2009 when Sean Combs, Cassie, where was it?
In Sean Combs' LA home, we were recording.
What did he do?
He was saying, "Where the fuck is my food?" He grabbed a black skillet with eggs and tried to hit her over the head. Cassie dropped to the ground.
What did she do?
She went into fetal position.
I'm sorry. Did y'all catch that? This other instance she's testifying about Diddy abusing Cassie, he went after her with a skillet full of eggs. Can we take a minute? Can we take a minute? And I'm really trying to choke back like the egg jokes, you know, the puns.
Then what?
Sean Combs was kicking her in the head and body, then dragged her up to the first floor, glass breaking and yelling. I was scared for her, and for me too.
Did you intervene?
No.
Did you call police?
No.
The next day, what happened?
That it had been passionate and she was okay. That it would be better if we didn't talk. That people could end up missing.
How did you understand that?
Death.
At this moment, the defense objected, and the judge said, sidebar. Once they came back from the sidebar, they excused the jurors and Don Richard. This is the end of the trial.
What the F? What the F? So essentially, did you guys catch that part? Because she just said what I was saying a minute ago of like, she knew what was going on and she didn't do anything. And I can't even imagine, I honestly can't imagine having to, like, she probably was scared for her life, but having to admit that she didn't do anything for someone who was experiencing something that terrible. Oh my God. I feel bad for all of these victims and, I'll say witness victims. Not all of the witnesses are victims. But you catch my drift. And also you'll see a lot of these sketch photos because since there's no real life photos going on in the courtroom, they just have these sketch artists. And I don't know, like, who hired this person, because it's not that they're bad. They're just not always accurate for the person that they're supposed to be portraying. I mean, like, I think some of these people the artist doesn't like because they're pretty bad. And they're pretty bad. All right. So that was what we had on Monday with Dawn. Okay. So yeah, so she said that he threatened both of them. He threatened her and Cassie and said that to keep quiet or else where he comes from, people go missing. Was his exact words according to her. Where I come from, people go missing. I'm sorry, what? What do you mean? What do you mean they go missing? I think we all know what that means. Yeah, Sadia, you're so right. I saw a post who said Diddy aged 50 years from the drawing, and he did. Because I've also heard that his hair is like very, very silver and gray now. Guess he's not getting those hair appointments anymore. I have to take a sip. Don't judge my Dr. Pepper Zero. Exactly, Alyssa. Money does talk. And like, do you ever think about the fact, like, how much money would it take for you to accept as hush money? Like, what would you see? I don't know. It's easy for all of us to think like our moral compass is super high, but is it? You never know until you're in the situation. And not just money, but like, do you also feel threatened? Do you feel like your family's being threatened? Because he did that before too. Threaten people's family, not just them. Very scary situation to be in. I'm glad I haven't been in that particular situation. My God. Okay, so then she said, I'm not going to play all of the rest of the clips because there's just so many and it's taking me forever to kind of navigate through them. So we're just going to take this as, one at a time. But yeah, so she said another incident happened in 2010 when they were at a restaurant. So they're in public, and then she saw Diddy actually punch Cassie right in the stomach at dinner in public in LA. Like, the audacity of this man, like the comfortability, as I was saying earlier, the comfortability he has of just doing this shit in public is beyond me, but not anymore. Also, imagine what it's like for him. Not that I feel bad at all. I'm glad this is happening, obviously, but like, I'm sorry. Cook me like a rotisserie chicken if all of this shit was being publicized and said about me and all of my sins, my deepest, darkest, unforgivable sins that he's done, which not me, thank God, but fry me, cook me, put me in the electric chair. I don't care because I'm not coming to court the next day. We're done. I've seen what I needed to see. That would be so humiliating. So that's one of my theories that I was saying, I think at the beginning, is like, I wonder how much of this is going to happen before Diddy tries to take a plea deal or tries to, you know what I mean, take a forever nap. Because I just knowing what I know about his personality, or not knowing, but witnessing and like kind of putting things together, he just doesn't seem like the kind that's going to be humiliated like this over and over, because he's used to being the one humiliating people and making them do shit like this and saying shit about people. So yeah, I don't know. Just, I'm saying it now. So in case either of those things happens, he takes a deal or a forever nap, You heard it here first. You heard it here first. So also at that dinner, guys, some more celebrities were named, right, in this testimony, because apparently at that dinner where he Cassie in the stomach, guess who else was at the dinner? Usher and Neo. We knew that there's been a connection with Usher and Diddy. Like, allegedly he groomed Usher, who recruited Justin Bieber so Diddy could groom Justin Bieber. There's that whole connection, which we've talked about before. So Usher was at that dinner, and Neo. Very, very interesting, guys. Very fucking interesting. And then, and also the former Interscope Records CEO, Jimmy Lovin. Apparently that's his real name. Now, they did say in this testimony, like, she was unsure if they had actually witnessed the abuse, like him actually doing it. So who knows? But yeah, they were apparently present at that dinner. So if all of that happened at the same time, I don't see how they didn't witness it. But I suspect that we'll see a lot of celebrities be named and testify and get immunity deals throughout all of this. My gosh, I have an eyelash in my eye. Okay, so at this point in her testimony, the defense is trying to, like, essentially break down and discredit her, as unfortunately that's always the defense's job. I don't like when they do that particular part, but oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This thing is like bad in my eye. So I'll just read it out loud. So it says, this is Diddy's defense, like, cross-examining Dawn. And they said, you testified he attempted to hit her about the eggs, and Cassie Ventura dropped down in the fetal position. She says, yes. Did you ever say you heard a pan hit the wall? You didn't see it? And then she says, I don't recall. So they're basically trying to, just discredit her and be like, well, you didn't see the pan on the floor. You didn't hear it hit the wall. Like, so you could just be making this up, which is absolutely ridiculous. Number one, it happened so long ago. It's hard to remember all of the exact senses. And when violence is happening around you like that, you're in survival mode, and you're going to go into protection mode and kind of shut down and just make it out of here alive. You're not going to remember it. Like, that's very, very common with survivors and abuse survivors. But you know how the defenses are. They got to do what they got to do. So she also said that she tried to erase some of these painful memories. And the lawyers, again, are trying to discredit her, saying that she's been adding new details in since she first gave her testimony until this point. But resurfacing memories is not uncommon with victims either. So I don't think that that's that bad. But it's really not about what I think. It's about if it's what the jury thinks, if they buy into what either side is saying. So, yeah. So one of the details she apparently added was that Sean Diddy Combs threatened to unalive her after the skillet incident. A skillet. Like, really? Bro, grow up. So then they asked her, like, why did she not disclose the abuse? Why didn't she tell anybody about it? Why didn't she go to the authorities? And then she said, I was told not to by Mr. Combs and Harvey Pierre, which is, I believe, isn't Harvey Pierre one of the higher ups at Bad Boy Records, right? Like, I know that from somewhere, but I think, yep, Sadia. Exactly. You right about that. Okay, so that was basically the end of Dawn's testimony. And then they moved on to, and this is still on Monday, then they moved on to Cassie's former friend and roommate, this girl named Carrie Morgan. And she said, let me see if I have a photo of her for you guys here. Where are you at, Carrie? I believe it's this girl here. hopefully I have the right person on here. Yes. Okay. So according to her roommate, this is Cassie's former roommate, she says that she witnessed him kick her. And I listened to some of this testimony earlier today, like from people that were inside the courtroom. And basically, she would witness stuff like this all of the time happen to Cassie from Diddy because they were really, really close, her and Cassie and Carrie. And like at one point, I think it's this exact instance where this is happening and she's like yelling and screaming at the bodyguard to do something. And not only did the security guy not do anything, but he actually shook his head and like refused to intervene. And then, so her and Cassie ended up leaving the house and hiding behind like a neighbor's steps. Like they hid for hours by a neighbor's house, and while Diddy was out searching for them. That would be so terrifying. Then she saw this happen again in Jamaica, and she witnessed Diddy actually dragging Cassie by her hair, and possibly being unconscious. And at that point, she said she also had she had also heard Diddy bragging out loud about how he actually owned Cassie, owned another person. Bragged about owning Cassie and had complete control over her career. And he loves to do that. He loves to put people's career on the line. So yes, let me scroll down here. So she said she tried over and over to convince Cassie to leave Diddy, but it was too financially, like there was too much on the line. There was way too much on the line for her to do that, because she said, quote, she would have lost all of her livelihood. It's also worth mentioning that it's really not uncommon for financial things like that to be, here's another photo, to be used against people, especially women in abuse situations. Financial abuse, it's a really blurry picture, but financial abuse is something that is often used against women. And people always ask, well, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? And that's one of the reasons. If you are not allowed access to bank accounts, if everything's being tracked, if deposits and transactions are being monitored, if your phone records are being monitored, like all these things, you cannot get out. You cannot get out. Like how are you going to do that? You don't have money. You don't even have money for a bus ticket, much less starting over and starting from scratch. So it's unfortunately kind of a common part of abuse. So this witness, I don't want to say I got a kick out of it, but listen, you have to like find the humor in the little bits of this heavy stuff where you can. I'm like burning up. I'm sorry. But yeah, she basically said like, I don't want to be here. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to testify. I'm only here because I was subpoenaed. Like legally, I have to be here. I don't want to be here because I put all of these people and their crap behind me. Like these people is literally what she called them. I put all of these people, what does she call, like their drama or something, like behind me. Yeah, she said she hadn't seen Diddy or Cassie since like 2018. And that is because Diddy actually assaulted her with a hanger back then. And that's when she was like, okay, and I'm out. She said that allegedly he choked her and hurt her with a clothes hanger. So like, he's literally just like, okay, anything around me, what can I use as a weapon? Like everything becomes a weapon when you're an abuser like that. Unfortunately, it's just like nothing's safe. He'll do it in public. He'll do it with a hanger. He'll do it with a freaking frying pan. Literally nothing and nowhere is safe. And that's terrifying. Very, very terrifying. But notice that he's he's this way with women, but not usually with men. I won't say never, because he has been exhibited violence with men allegedly, but really loves to do it with women. He knows how to get in there. So the reason he attacked Cassie's roommate is because he believed that she knew that Cassie was dating someone else. And he thought that she was keeping it a secret. So that apparently warranted a physical assault. He showed up at their house, their joint house, in a complete rage, like a jealous rage, and decided that he would physically attack both of them. She actually ended up with a concussion. And I'm sure that there's like a medical trail of all of this too, but I don't want to get too much in the weeds on that. But yeah, she said she suffered a big concussion and actually planned to sue Diddy about this. But here comes what payoff. But Cassie actually gave her $30,000 for hush money. Sorry, I don't know what, something is like tickling my lip, like I have some on my lip. But yeah, she said that Cassie and Diddy paid her off with $30,000, but made her sign an NDA. And so they had been friends. Her and Cassie had been friends like 2 decades, and she said they never spoke again after that. So she got $30,000, had to sign an NDA, and she cut her losses and just got out of that friendship for good. And she hasn't spoken to them since. So that's why she was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be around these people. I don't want to talk to these people. I have nothing to say to them. I'm only here because I'm legally obligated, or I'll be charged with a crime as well. Just completely crazy. And then real briefly after her was a former assistant of Diddy's that came and took the stand. He said he spoke more about like the kind of like the work and emotional abuse that took place. Like he would have to work 20 hours a day, sometimes like 20-hour days. Sometimes I work 20-hour days, no joke. But this is different. I'm doing it. I work for myself. I'm not working for a complete shit bag, That's completely different. But yeah, in his words, here's an exact quote. He was told, quote, "This is Mr. Combs' kingdom, and we're all here to serve. We're all here to serve in it." And that's really the attitude that Sean Combs has always had. It's like, this is my life. This is my world. This is my kingdom. And you will do as I say, or you will suffer the consequences. And I'm sorry, what were his exact words? Where I come from, people disappear. Yeah, I think that was it. And he means that. Yeah, remember his ex, Kim Porter? That's just one of them. Aaliyah is another one. Biggie is another one. All of this is alleged, but Tupac. There's a lot of people that do disappear when Diddy's around, and I just find that very, very interesting. And by interesting, I mean concerning. Sadia asks a great question. What do you think about his children and mother being there last week and absent this week? Are they realizing he's a monster? I can hope so, but I also know that his twins specifically are high school seniors, and they're graduating, I think, this week. They were graduating this week. So I think maybe they're all gone for that, kind of like having their own experience and not letting this other thing get in the way of graduation and like just the experience of being a high school kid. But the way that they were all behaving last week, it gives me cause for concern, because there's a lot of speculation and testimony about potentially his sons being involved and knowing about all of this. I don't know about his daughters, but his mom definitely. I think it all started with freaking Janice Combs. That's what I think. I think it all comes down to little Miss Janice Combs. I don't know what she did to Diddy, maybe or maybe not, but I think everything stems and ties back to her. She's also allegedly been a participant in these freak offs as well. She's just, that's another person I would really like to have 5 minutes with, because like, what the fuck? What are you doing? What are you doing for real? I thought I had pulled a picture up here of her and Diddy, but earlier I had pulled all of my media up here. And then when I came back to it, a few minutes later, guess what? It was all gone. It was all gone. So I had to start from scratch. So yeah, that's just one of the fun little challenges today. Is very sketchy. So I will be interested to see maybe next week if his kids come back into the court and all of that. I just don't know. Number one, they're children, so it's like they would be more easily manipulated, and no one wants to think the most awful things about their father. But then I know that his kids like walked out of the courtroom last week when they first started hearing testimony. Like they would come in and out, which, yeah, I imagine that's hard to hear, but then they were still being supportive. So I don't know. It's a lot to process for them. I can't imagine. Jesus, I don't know. Because I don't know how much they already knew versus what they were just learning for the first time. But good Lord. Yeah, those poor kids. Because regardless, those poor kids. And Quincy especially, Kim's son. And that's not Diddy's son, but he adopted him. That's a whole freaking hot mess too. Those two. Oh my gosh. So I'm worried about that kid for sure. But yeah, so then we had that assistant, and then I don't know. I feel like we need a quick palate cleanser. I mean, come on. How cute are those? How cute. Yes, Lissa, it is a closed courtroom. They only allow select media. I think they like hand selected the media participants. So like not even all media can be present there as well. Like it's very closed off. And I've seen a lot of people asking like, well, why is this not televised? It needs to be televised. And I agree. I wish it was. But unfortunately, federal cases are not. And since he's being federally prosecuted, that's the reason that it's not televised. Which, fix it, Jesus, because we need to be able to see what's going on and be the judge. Let us be the judge. There is already a judge in there and a jury, but that's not the point. That's not the point. We need to hear it, like, out all of these people involved. Okay, so the next day on Tuesday, so now we're into Tuesday of this week, the assistant goes back on the stand and says that one time Cassie told him, man, this lifestyle is crazy. There's some more audio of this testimony, but basically the assistant asked her at one point, like, why don't you leave? And she said that Sean Combs essentially pays for everything in her life and funds her life. So that's why she can't leave, because it's not like she's just so well taken care of and she doesn't want to leave. She doesn't have the means to leave because he pays for everything, tracks everything. So everything from her music to the house that she lives in, her phone, everything. So yeah, she was pretty bound to that situation, and it's really unfortunate. She also, you know what they say, like the man, what's the saying? Like the man you meet at 19 is the one who ends up ruining your life. And that is so true. Same here. Literally same. But yeah, so bless her. She was very moldable, were his words, I believe, in one of these. I'm not sure who testified it, but I remember that specifically as like he described Cassie as being very moldable because she was so young and just didn't know anything about the world or relationships or the signs to look out for or anything like that. So it was very easy for Diddy to kind of have this effect on her. Let's see. Okay, so back to the assistant here, and then I'll go to the comments in just a second. he also says that one time another assistant, because there were many, Diddy is a needy little bitch. But one of his other assistants was so dehydrated that they had to go to the hospital after just 24 hours of being on shift. Like, that's how dehydrated they were. Imagine what they were doing to be that dehydrated. Just think about that. I think we know. We know what those freak offs were and the IVs that they had to have afterwards and all of that. But yeah, so the prosecution asked him, like, what was your job? Like, what did you have to do for Diddy? And so he said he would do a lot of just like the personal errands and buying personal items, like condoms, baby oil, and lube. But was instructed to not submit any of the receipts for reimbursement because there would essentially be a track record of all of that. And Diddy was trying to avoid the very situation that he is currently in. Did not work out well for him, I am pleased to say. In the end, anyway. But yeah, so they would always have to go to the bank for Diddy and get out just like loads of money at a time, like tens of thousands of dollars to pay for all of his stuff. So part of his job was keeping a very consistent environment for Diddy, because we know how Diddy also loves to rage out if things aren't just perfect for him. And part of that was stocking up on items needed for these events, which, by the way, would happen every week. For the better part of like half a week, for every week would be a freak off of some kind in some place, in some room with some people. Maybe not like an elaborate party, but there would be a version of it for half of the week, because they would Diddy would start the thing, whatever, and without sleep, these things would go on for sometimes like 36 plus hours. Insane. Super, super insane. But he would also put together and help as the assistant. He would be in charge of like this medicine bag, which I think I have a picture of it too. When they confiscated a bunch of the items at Diddy's house, the medicine bag was essentially, you know what? I'll show you. Shall I share some pictures? Let's see here. Well, first of all, yeah, you guys see this? This is literally from the government exhibit. So they found I think it was 100 and something total bottles of Astroglide and baby oil. Like, why do you need that much on hand at any given time? What? Yeah, I feel like this is a good time to go through some of these photos, right? This is some of the stuff that was in the medicine bag. I do know that there was one even named, no, it wasn't named maybe, but it had a picture of Obama on it. Like, that was the name of the drug, the street drug, is like whoever did that. Has nothing to do with Obama, but how dare they? How dare they bring him into this? Here's some other stuff that was found. Hopefully this video does not get taken down for this. I've also heard several people say that these were actually Diddy's. They were on his side of the closet with his other shoes. To each their own. To each their own. Another really... Oh, first, let me show you this one. This one's really weird. This one's really, really weird, guys. This was Diddy's bathroom. Do you guys see that mirror? My question is, did he write this stuff to himself, or were these people leaving messages for him? Can you guys make out what that says? I can't zoom in on this one necessarily, but I know there's one that says, "What do you want?" And then there were some other ones. I zoomed in earlier. It just doesn't let me do that while I'm screen sharing. But there's basically messages hyping Diddy up, saying what a wonderful person he is and everything like that. That's just a gross looking bathroom. That is disgusting. For all the money that he has, he can't afford a housekeeper. And then the other photo here, they also found these. So all of these photos are like the new evidence. Well, it's not new evidence. It's new to us. The Fed sees this when they raided his home in Miami. So all of this stuff is evidence that they took the day he was arrested from his home in Miami. But he has 3 homes. He had, let's see, there's one in New York, LA, and Miami. So what's real interesting about these little pieces here is that they had all of these serial numbers shaved off. And they were loaded. Yep. So this is part of what plays into his RICO charge as well. I came across a photo the other day, but I could not find it today when I went back to look. But it was basically a picture of his closet just lined with these semi-automatic weapons. All of the serial numbers shaved off, and that is very, very suspicious. That's not a collection, you know? It's not just a little innocent Southern collect. Not that there's any of them that are innocent, but yeah. Here's the day that I just know those people feel like the SWAT team or whoever, they have to feel so badass doing that. And with all due disrespect, fuck 12, but this would be a really cool job. Like, come on. I said what I said. Don't come for me. Okay? Do not come for me. All right. Let me go to the comments real quick. I haven't forgotten about you guys. How's it going over here? Oh, let me pull this photo back up so I can share this comment with it. Where is it? Okay. Here we go. It's the duckies for me. Wait, is this the wrong basket? Is this the wrong photo? Dang it. Well, you guys know what I was saying. Where is it? Or am I covering it up? I don't know. But yeah, the freaking duckies. Oh, I think it was here. Here we go. Yeah, because why are they in there? I mean, like, I guess I get it, but I don't get it, you know? There's a lot that makes sense and a lot that really, really freaking does not make any sense. Okay, back to the comments. What did I miss over here? What are you guys up to? Oh, Lissa, honey. No, I'm just kidding. I know you have a lot of medical conditions. That's different. But tell us, like, can you recognize them? Because I don't know off the top of the dome, like, what is in that was in that pill bag. But yeah, if you can recognize some of them, I would be personally interested to know. Maybe abbreviate it so the video doesn't get flagged. It might already be flagged, but who knows? Ooh, this is good. My partner and I keep wondering who he crossed that it came out now. That's the question. That's the question, isn't it? Like, who did he piss off? Because that's the thing is, like, people have been trying to come out about this and it has been hushed, not just from Diddy, but like there's a history of people trying to come forward, have made police reports, all these things in multiple states, multiple jurisdictions, and like still nothing is being done. This is way big. I feel like this is way bigger than any of us know. But hold on. What? Okay. So we're all just innocent little creatures out here, aren't we? Because I didn't know that's what those rubber duckies were. I've never seen any like that. What does this mean? Were they ghost guns? If by ghost guns you mean like because they shaved off the serial numbers, basically so they couldn't be traced. They couldn't be traced on like who bought it, who has committed crimes with it or sold it, you know? So things can be, yeah, yeah, untraceable that way. And then even if they run like forensics on guns and stuff, I don't know all of the ways that it can hide crimes, but I do know that it ain't good. It ain't good. Didn't I see I thought I saw a comment about Epstein, but I don't want to scroll all the way back through all of the comments and get myself off track. But I did see a theory that said something about all of this is coming up about Diddy now because it's basically a way to desensitize all of us for what's coming out from the Epstein files, because it's worse than whatever's coming out about Diddy now. I don't know if there's any truth to that. I don't know if it holds any truth, but it makes some sense, I guess. If any of this can make sense, that might make some sense. Oh, Lissa came through with what those little pill baggies were. I'm over here like, what? Let me piece this together in my head. Other channels were wondering why oil and rubber duckies there. Well, yeah, now we know that the rubber duckies are vibrators. That makes a lot more sense because they said that they found boxes of sex toys. I didn't know the rubber duckies were part of it. I didn't know if that was like a sick joke, but yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. And then the baby oil. Yeah. So we learned more about the baby oil. I think it was today, not the Kid Cudi testimony, but a male escort that Diddy hired to have sex with Cassie. He talks more about like the purpose of the baby oil as well. And that was like a thing Diddy had. I don't know that we know, because remember, and I even talked about this in another video about like GHB being a component in the baby oil to basically keep people not compliant, but just unable to move their bodies, basically paralyzed but awake. We haven't heard, I don't think we've heard something about that specifically, but there were a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of drugs around and involved. And it just seems very odd to have that much baby oil. Like that's an insane amount. Okay, so apparently I was the only one. I guess I'm the only one who didn't know that. Listen, I was homeschooled. That's my excuse for everything. I was homeschooled. I don't know. Okay, see? Thank you. I actually thought it was like some kind of sick joke of like, oh yeah, we're doing some fucked up things, but like, here's a little rubber ducky. I don't know, because he has a sick, twisted head. So, you know. Yes, I'm also wondering this because the video that they showed in court apparently was a longer version than the stuff that was leaked publicly. So then, like, how did they have the longer video, and why wasn't the whole video publicly leaked, you know? Because whoever leaked it obviously had access to it. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out more about that. My question, you know, what I was wondering is like, he knew, so the feds moved in, because I heard this as part of the feds testimony this week too, is like the reason that they raided his house when they did is because they had been watching the house and basically surveilling Diddy, because they knew that all of this was going to go down at some point, and making sure they didn't flee the country. Well, then they learned from surveilling them that him and his family were leaving the country, and they were like, well, we got to do it now. So they raided it. But if he, like, because you're not the first person that I've seen say that, like, he knew ahead of time they were on him. But I guess maybe, I don't know, like, why didn't he get rid of all of the evidence that was in there? Even just the pictures that we've seen, because no doubt there's a lot more than just the 4 or 5 photos I have. So, like, you just didn't, like, he was just so up on his high horse and thinking he's a god and untouchable that he just didn't think anything would actually happen. He thought he would get away with everything again. It's definitely possible. He's done it for so long, for how many decades? Like, he probably thought he was untouchable. Yes. Okay, great comments. Good conversation. Keep it up while I go back to my notes here. Yeah, just really crazy. Oh yeah. Okay, so now I see my notes about about the like having President Obama's face on some of the pills. Leave his name out of your mouth, literally, right? Because it's on a pill, and you have to put it in your mouth. Okay, I'm done. And yes, as I was saying earlier, like he was saying at this point that Cassie was very moldable, and in his words, right where I want her, she's young. You sick fuck. You sick fuck. And this is again one of Diddy's assistants, because there's multiple assistants that have testified at this point. He says he was also made to take a lie detector test when one of Diddy's bracelets, like expensive bracelets, went missing. Like, you're making your employees take a lie detector test. This man, see, that's the thing, is like the people, I've always thought this, and it's like the people who are doing the most accusing are usually the ones guilty themselves. Am I right? He's over here, jealous rage, absolutely just like being a piece of shit, accusing everyone of everything because he's a piece of shit and he's doing everything and worse than anyone's doing. And so you always have to look over your shoulder when you're that way. And that's what he's been doing. It's exactly what he's been doing. He said one time he even drove Diddy to confront Suge Knight. Isn't that real interesting? And then he said right shortly after that confrontation, Diddy purchased, I don't know if he used his assistant to help purchase, but Diddy purchased 3 handguns after that confrontation with Suge Knight. I know we'll hear more about that before all of this is said and done. I feel very confident about that. And then he said it wasn't long after that point he felt like his life was in danger as the assistant, so that's when he quit his job, which that has to be scary alone, quitting your job, because you know that you know too much and you know what Diddy's capable of, or at least part of what he's capable of, and then you're quitting. Like, what's stopping him from tying up loose ends and keeping people's mouths shut? Oh God, that would be so scary. It would be so freaking scary. So next up on the stand was Cassie's mom. Yeah, Cassie's mom actually testified this week. Her name is Regina. I do believe I have some photos of Miss Regina as well. And I also feel really bad for her. Like, hearing all of this horrible crap come out about your daughter, like all this stuff that she's been through. Well, do I not have a photo of her? Well, dead gummit. I guess I'll put a photo of Cassie back up here. How about that? Could do that. Let me do that so you guys don't have to see me in the background. So Cassie's mom testified this week. And she says that back in the day, Cassie told her that Sean Combs would, he had threatened to release sex tapes of her because, as blackmail, because he had learned that Cassie and Kid Cudi had started seeing each other. And we know how Diddy feels about Cassie seeing anybody else. He's so controlling, whether or not they were together, like broken up or not. Like, he simply will not have it. Let me find a photo. Don't I have a photo of him here? No, I guess my computer decided to delete my other photo of Kid Cudi, but it's on the thumbnail. But yeah, so he said, she said, Regina, Cassie's mom, said that Cassie confided in her that Diddy had threatened her and Kid Cudi physically. And he made it a point to tell them during these threats that, like, I'm going to be out of the country. It's not going to be by my hands. You're going to get hurt. Something bad's going to happen to both of you. But basically, your blood's not going to be on my hands physically, because I'm not going to be in the country. I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to be charged with this crime, but you're still going to suffer the consequences, but I won't, even if you're not here anymore, even if you disappear. And that's that's some crazy behavior. That's a crazy thing to say. And the thing is, it's like, we've seen what he's capable of, especially the people closest to him. So I 100% believe it. 100% believe that. Why wouldn't he? Freaking crazy. Yeah. So I don't understand this part because he's always paying off people. He's always paying off people. Okay, maybe I do understand this part. He's always paying off people, always getting them to like take hush money and sign NDAs. But at this point, he tells Regina, Cassie's mom, that she needs to pay him $20,000 for him to recoup his losses because Cassie was seeing another man. Like, I'm sorry, what the? But it's a control thing. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with money. $20,000. He knew that they're not rich people. Miss Regina's not a rich lady. Like, he knew that $20,000 could make or break someone who doesn't have access to money like he does. And he knew that she would go broke to help her daughter. And she paid the $20,000. What else is she going to do? So listen to this. This is some messed up, like, controlling, abusive shit right here. This really pisses me off. Oh, this really grinds my gears. It really, really grinds my gears. So he demanded that Regina give him $20,000 to recoup that money that he spent on Cassie during their relationship. Get the fuck out of here. And says he was angry about her seeing another man. And so her and her husband, Cassie's parents, had to take out a home equity loan to get the money. Again, he fucking knew. He fucking knew that could break them financially, and I'm sure mentally and emotionally. And so the defense, Diddy's defense was cross-examining her, and they said, I believe it was them that was cross-examining her. And they asked, why did you take out a loan to pay Sean Combs? Like, why would you do that? And she said it was simply for the safety of her daughter. And that she was scared for her life. Because a mom's going to do what a mom's got to do. It doesn't matter. I would do the exact same thing. Whether or not it's extortion or blackmail, it doesn't, like, of course I'm going to do it. That's what you do for your kids. Especially in a situation like that where your kid's life could be on the line. Their safety could be on the line. We saw what's happened to the women that have been in Diddy's life. Kim Porter, Brittany Murphy, Aaliyah. Need I go on? So, but what's really weird about this too is that she said a couple days later the money was actually returned. Yeah, he returned the money. Made them take out a loan. And financially, like, put themselves in a really bad situation. Because when you're already poor and you don't have $20,000 just sitting around for threads, which most people don't in this economy, they took out the loan, did that whole thing, and then he just returned the money. It was a control thing to see if they would do it. I mean, that is some messed up shit. Okay, so Cassie's mom goes on with her testimony, and she said that she first learned about the abuse like years ago, and that's when she started documenting it. Like, this is a smart lady. She knew. She's like, I might not be able to do anything about it, and stop it or make Cassie leave or anything like that, but I can document it. So she started taking pictures of when Cassie would show up with bruises or any like physical evidence, or I'm about to sneeze, so I apologize. Or any receipts or bank deposits, things like that. She kept the receipts. She kept pictures, everything like that. And so smart. I love this lady. But yeah, so she started keeping a binder. Okay. She said, look at the binder next to you. Those are the photos I took of my daughter's bruises. Mm-hmm. That's a mom. That's a freaking mom. I would do anything to have a mom like that, I'll tell you. So she said that they, that Cassie, I believe Cassie and Diddy visited her, like Cassie's parents for her birthday one year. But that resulted, like, while they were there visiting, they had like this really bad argument because Diddy stole Cassie's phone. Because again, remember, he's a jealous little freak and he's always worried that Cassie's doing something behind his back. So he stole her phone. And so Regina, Mama Bear over here, called the cops, as she should, as she mother effing should. And her and Diddy got into a screaming match, which she's one of the only people, I will say, she's one of the only people that I've heard that has actually like had the bits and the balls to go up against Diddy and tell him what she really thinks. And I love that. I love that she was the one to do it. She'd do anything for her daughter. So she said after that point, Diddy ended up giving Cassie the phone back, but then took her car. Yeah, then stole her car. So, but again, remember Cassie already said like he's paying for everything to keep her under control. So like everything's in his name. So him stealing her car is taking away her freedom. But legally, if that is in his name, the cops can't do anything. I mean, I have a hair on me. So yeah, just Diddy being Diddy. What can I say? So let's go. Let's see what else is on this part of the on part of Regina's testimony. I think that kind of wrapped up the end of Regina's at this point. I don't know if we'll hear from Regina again, but then the next one, oh, you guys are going to like this next one. You're going to really like it. He's 51 years old right now, but he's an exotic male dancer named Sheree Hayes. But his stage name, get this, his stage name as an exotic dancer was the Punisher. Let that one simmer. Yeah. All of you little freaks who knew what that rubber ducky was, I'm sure you know what the Punisher means. Yeah. Let me go read those comments because I know y'all have something to say about that. Exactly, Lissa. Exactly. $20,000. That's beans. That is literally pocket change beans to someone like him. Merch is now available online at KendraLeeBryan.com. Yes, do you like my little mug and my matching shirt? Oh, and you guys should check out the website with my new merch because I uploaded, my son and I took the photos of like we're wearing the merch on the website now. We did that yesterday, and then I was able to like get the photos up today, and then opened up the website today. But yeah, so you can see. I don't think have I ever shared photos on here of my son? He's 17. He's technically a senior now because he just finished his junior year. But yeah, he's on there. Way cooler than me. You'll see that instantly. Please don't make fun of my photos. But yeah, we had a good time yesterday. Spent a couple hours out in the park taking photos. So even if you don't buy anything, that's fine. Just go check them out. Tell me what you think. Are you though? No, Lissa, I think it's more like BDSM. I have dyslexia, and I'm like, did I say those letters in the right order? Look at this guy, because I know I have a photo of him, and he is insane. He's actually insane looking. First, I'll show you this one. Okay. This is like the court drawing of him. But remember when I told you that the photos aren't exactly the same? The photos aren't exactly matching what they look like in person. That's your boy right there. That's your boy. That's the Punisher. Like, I'm actually scared. I saw somewhere else, like, I don't know if this was his nickname officially. Like, that's not a stage name, but people called him Hulkamania. That I could see. I could see that. So yeah, I don't know. Is this a jump scare? What do you guys want me to leave this up? You guys want me to leave this up or what? Because like, this guy's crazy. Okay, so actually I am going to leave this up while I read some of his testimony. Because yeah, this is the guy who testified next. So he was a male exotic dancer at the time who went by the Punisher. So this is like between the years 2012 through 2016. Oh, I'm sorry. He's a partner. Okay, sorry. Thanks for the notes. It says he's a partner at an exotic dance company called Hulkamania. Of course, I assume that he had a hand in naming it. But anyway, he said that Cassie was actually the one who called him back in 2012 to hire him for her birthday. Like as a male dancer. And that he was told to go to Trump International Hotel because he was going to be doing like this striptease thing. So he says he shows up there, and instead, like Cassie meets him in a, like, I was reading about this earlier too. Cassie meets him at the door in like this. I'm like, I just noticed I'm lowering my voice because my kid is in the other room playing games. But she showed up to the door wearing a like bathrobe with nothing else, and said she asked him to create this quote unquote like sexy scene using, drum roll please, baby oil. So this is where the baby oil really comes into play. Like we hear something about it, like an actual experience with it. But yeah, she lets the Punisher know that Diddy was going to come out. She actually referred to him as her husband. She said, we're going to put on a little show for my husband, and he's going to come out and watch. But like she made it very, very clear to not even acknowledge his presence, which that's the only time Diddy doesn't want his presence acknowledged, because he will take any chance at attention. And then he says he was paid $800 in cash, and that he went on to have like 10, 12, somewhere in there, like other interactions with them, basically starting out at the same thing, but escalating into actual sexual activity. And that Diddy basically micromanaged these interactions, and would, I don't even want to say coach, but would just like tell them what to do about like lighting and how he wanted their bodies to be positioned and all of this stuff. Just like, he's such a control freak, such a control freak. And also I was reading this earlier that when Diddy came out, like the first time, he was wearing like this, I don't want to ruin the name. I feel really bad because I was trying to remember it earlier, but he was wearing like this veil that I believe Muslim women wear, but it's like for specific things. So it's not a hijab, like it's something else. But yeah, he was wearing that. Like I'm sorry, what? Why are you appropriating this and through your deviant sexual behavior? I don't know. So it would make it seems like that maybe that went hand in hand with the foot and foot with the heels. You know, I'm just throwing that out there. You guys sick of this picture yet? You tired of looking at this big old brute? I don't know. You guys hate me for that? Let me finish up his testimony real quick. So yeah, so they had like a bunch of encounters like that ultimately was sexual encounters. Diddy paid him to have sex with his girlfriend Cassie. It's bare bones of it all. He says that Cassie did seem to consent. That was his perception at the time, is that Cassie was consenting to this, but sometimes he would see her wince or make like an uncomfortable face or something. But he, at the time, assumed that that's because Diddy was just being overly involved and critical or like controlling of everything that was going on in the interaction. So he essentially thought she was just annoyed with Diddy, which don't blame you. Don't blame you one bit for that. He says at some point in 2016, he quote unquote like failed to perform during one of these interactions because he felt very uncomfortable for whatever reason, what was transpiring at that time. And so he was never contacted by them again. So dang, like one time, and they were just like, he's got to go. He's got to go. So whole years together for nothing. He did say the male escort did say he never personally witnessed Diddy ever being violent towards Cassie, and he didn't witness, at least in his eyes, he didn't think that Cassie was ever on drugs. So that was his perception at the time. And so that was the end of Hulkamania, the Punisher's testimony. So then the prosecution called a 10th witness, which was a Homeland Security officer who basically used to work in like human trafficking and was part of the Homeland Security search on Diddy's house. And yeah, they said there was like 80 to 90 agents that raided his home. So that's a big team. It's a real big team of people showing up at the house. And I guess I shared the pictures a little too early, but yeah, they go on to, like, she goes on to say that they found not just the guns, but a lot of gun parts, including parts of AR-15s, the loaded magazines, high heels, sex toys, and just like the ridiculous amount of baby oil, among other things, and the creepy mirror, the real creepy mirror. So then that brings us to Wednesday. There's a lot of anticipation about Kid Cudi testifying yesterday, but then he didn't end up testifying yesterday, and we were told it would be next week, but then he showed up today. Let me not get ahead of myself. So back today, the Homeland Security agent was back on the stand and described more about what they found, and that's when they started describing like the all of the drugs, including the pills, a lot of white powder, and like crystal rock-like substances, which we don't need Lissa to know what that is, unfortunately. But yeah, he apparently just kept on hand METH and other things. Like, why are you just keeping that in your little diaper bag? That's not for a, that's not Tylenol for a headache. That's not even an Oxy for pain, That's like you're doing drugs for the sake of doing drugs. Oh, and the MDMA as well. So just like a charcuterie board of all of the substances. My gosh. And so then they called called a forensic psychologist, Dawn Hugh, and she actually testified during Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial about like the psychological impact of PTSD and the different ways that victims of abuse respond in situations, or why they might not leave, or kind of like the implications and the impact that years of abuse, including financial abuse and all of that, keeps people in the relationships. So the prosecution team, the feds hired her to come and basically give her expert opinion on the stuff. But of course, like, the defense tried to really undermine her and discredit her. But yeah, she goes, I'm not going to get too much into it at this point, but yeah, she made some really good points about just the impact that it has on people. Whether or not the jury is receptive to that, I don't know. It just depends what kind of people are on the jury and their own life experiences. But I thought she did a great job explaining what being in an abusive relationship can do to people. And it really corroborated like Cassie's behavior. Like you hear from Cassie and her testimony on like what she was scared to do, how she was scared to leave, why she couldn't leave, the things that kept bringing her back, the different ways and tactics that he used on her. And then we hear from this forensic psychologist, and she essentially describes the exact same thing. So I don't know, I feel like that's a strong connection to me anyway. Kind of bridging that gap there for the jury, I hope. Yeah, so then, like, after her testimony wrapped up, or I guess it's not her testimony, it's her like experts, whatever You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Then we got testimony from an executive assistant to Diddy. So this guy's name is George Kaplan. If my computer did not delete that photo, I should. Okay, here's a forensic psychologist lady. I recognize her. Is this George Kaplan? Not sure. Could be. Could be, guys. Because now my stuff's in the wrong order. I don't know. I don't think it's him, so I'm going to take him off there. I think it's this other guy here in a minute. But so then we heard from an executive assistant. It's like an assistant to the regional manager. It's like a step up above that. So this, yeah, this is crazy. So he was subpoenaed and actually tried to plead the fifth and completely avoid testifying, saying he didn't want to self-incriminate. So he was very much a participant in a lot of the stuff. He knew about it. He helped facilitate it. So he was like, no, thank you. I'm not getting up there and ratting on myself and like incriminating myself and ending up in prison, right next to Diddy. I think not. But he was required by the judge to appear and testify. So he ended up getting an immunity deal. Like, what does he know? He must know a lot of really gnarly shit. Cause yeah, he got a complete immunity order, but he basically kind of to summarize, like what he testified is like the other assistant testifies, like he worked really long hours. This guy says 80 to 100 hours a week, which lines up with the other fella. And said he was sometimes asked to acquire drugs and alcohol for Diddy, classic executive assistant. And then he also said that Diddy would threaten his job security like once a month, like always threatening to take his job away and basically keep him on his toes and acting right and keeping his mouth shut and working 100 hours a week. He said basically his entire job is protecting Diddy's image. And that's a big deal to Diddy. And that's why he got away with it for so long. It's like people were worshiping him in public. And he's doing this stuff kind of behind the scenes, but like kind of not, because so many people knew about it. But yeah, he said that it was implied that his job was to clean up all of the rooms and stuff after the parties to protect Diddy's image. And because he was very keen on doing that, were his words, I was very keen on doing that. This guy also, like, he kind of pissed me off when I was reading more of his testimony, because it kind of sounded like he was still buddies with Diddy. Like they were smiling at each other across the courtroom. I believe it was this guy. Let me not say the wrong one, but I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. There's something going on there or maybe he's like doing all that and acting like he didn't want to testify and that he's still friends with Diddy because he's like, my life could be on the line if Diddy thinks I double-crossed him, which is valid, which is totally valid. So now we're into today. And we know that we had Kid Cudi today. And I don't really give a F about celebrities in that way. But this was a big deal. People were highly anticipating this because do you guys remember back like a while ago? I don't even remember the dates. I should have that in front of me. But like, years ago, Cassie and Kid Cudi were dating or whatever, and his car blew up. Like, completely went up. Hold on. Here we go. Yep, that's his car, guys. That's his freaking car. There's a whole story about that. And so we heard that today in his testimony. But it all stemmed from back then, and we had known about that, and it was like there were rumors that Diddy was involved. And then Cassie went back to Diddy after that. So everybody was like, it must not be. It must not be. No abuser or no victim has ever gone back to their abuser. All right, let me go to the comments before I start on the last day, because Kid Cudi's the last one that we have to go over. Let me read some of these comments, or I'll put some of them up here and we'll go through them real quick. Oh, thank you, Lissa. No, if he doesn't, If he doesn't, if he mother doesn't. No, I think he's gonna go to prison for life. I don't think he'll get like the death penalty, but I really think he'll get a life sentence. Because there's just too much that's come out now. There's too many things that are traceable and that are, I mean, just the weapons charge alone through like the RICO thing. And then there's like a kidnapping charge too that we learned about through Kid Cudi's testimony. Like those two things fall under RICO, and that alone is enough for a really, really long prison sentence. So I anticipate that he will be staying behind bars, and hopefully he's still, I believe, in the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York with Luigi. But since he hasn't been sentenced, hopefully he'll go to like Rikers Island or something fun. I would love that for him. Thank you, Lissa. Thank you for remembering. Is it the Niqab? Niqab? Am I saying that right? I probably butchered it. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm saying it under my breath, but yes, they were. Yes, they were. And I think that's part of the Kid Cudi testimony, which I think it is in there, but I'm just going to say it right now anyway. I know one of the names that he was using was, you know what? I will save it. Hold on. Let me not get ahead of myself. It's really hard. It's really hard because I have all of this information up here and I'm like, I just want to tell y'all because it's really chaps my ass, as my great grandma used to say. Oh, well, I think we're saying the same thing. I didn't see your comment till just now, but spot on. Same brainwave. Yes, 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 and yes. And yes, because there's some stuff about celebrity doctors and even, you know what, even medical examiners too, like the ones who have done the autopsies. There's people who've done like the autopsies, like the celebrity medical examiners that were literally paid off to change the cause of death. I believe Kim Porter again was one of them, and it's the same medical examiner who has done multiple pneumonia deaths with people near to Diddy. And then wouldn't you fucking know, that guy, that medical examiner, he died of pneumonia. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think that many people in a very like 20s to 50s age range, people aren't just falling, like people in that close circle, they're just dropping from pneumonia and nothing suspicious. So let me read a few more comments here. Yep. Let me take a drink. I feel like my mouth is really dry and I don't want to have dry mouth. It's cotton mouth for you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Yep, I talked about that in right. Unrelated, kind of. I've been playing the Oregon Trail. Yeah, that old game. And dysentery gets me. Dysentery gets me every 5 minutes. That's the new pneumonia, you know? Or pneumonia is the new dysentery too. It's just so weird to me. That can't be unrelated. I'm not saying it's related. I'm just saying it can't be unrelated. Okay, let's get through this, shall we? So, sorry. Kid Cudi wasn't the only testimony today, but we had more testimony from Kaplan, but the executive assistant. So I guess that was his picture I shared a minute ago. So let me look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this. Come on. Yeah, he was the one that I was reading about. Like, I think it might have been Stephanie Sue who was talking about it. That him and Diddy were like making eye contact and like smiling at each other from across the court. And like, when I was reading through his actual testimony, he was like hyping Diddy up and saying like, oh, Diddy gave me my career. Like, he completely changed my life. Like, just saying, like, shut up. Like, read the room. What are you doing? Even if all of that were true, do you see the situation that we're in right now? So, I mean, he was, look at that. Okay. And then that was a court drawing of him. You know, I feel like that one's kind of accurate. I feel like, yeah, that one's not too far off. That one's not far off. I don't know. So we heard from him. He says he saw Diddy. He did see Diddy being violent with Cassie on a private jet at one point, and even like broke like a whiskey glass. I don't know if he broke it on her or just broke it, but like, still, why are you breaking glass on a plane fighting with your girlfriend? And he says Cassie screamed on the plane, like, is no one seeing this? Like, imagine how maddening, like, this shit that Diddy's doing and attacking you. And there's all of these grown-ass men, all these security guards and these big mother effer dudes, like assistants. They're all just like, look at the time, like acting like they don't hear anything. And she literally is screaming, like, is no one seeing this? Like, am I fucking crazy? No, he testifies that nobody checked on her after this happened. No one checked on her. No one called the cops. They just kept doing what they do, which is nothing. Buying baby oil, congratulations. What a man. Really glad that launched your career. I hope it was worth it. He said he said Diddy asked him to go the same day that happened. Diddy asked him to go to the store and get like some anti-swelling cream for Cassie's face. Why? I think we know why. Because she had visible injuries and wounds on her face from Diddy assaulting her. Should I be done? I gotta wrap this up. But yeah, he said he didn't stop work to check on her. But yeah, he eventually did stop working for Diddy. He said due to his physical behavior. But I feel like it's more like he was afraid he would get hurt. Not that he was against Diddy's behavior against women, specifically Cassie. He probably had his life threatened like everyone else. And was like, nah, he's out of there. But yeah, he said he still kept in touch with Sean Combs after he left that job because, quote, this is a quote, this is what I was saying. He's such a fucking brown noser. He said, because I liked Mr. Combs and I wanted to continue having a relationship with him. Why? So you quit a job because of his physical behavior, but then wanted to continue having a relationship with him because you liked him. Make that make sense. You like that kind of behavior. You just didn't want to potentially be involved in a way that might land you in court, which is where you are now, which is where you really tried to plead the fifth and not end up because you're a fucking coward. But, you know, he did make it a point of telling himself that he was on the stand, that letting people know that, you know, back then he was a really ambitious kid. So, guys, just so you know, he was about that grind. He also said that he witnessed Diddy throwing a number of decorative or real green apples at another girlfriend. So not just Cassie. Enough about him because he's pissing me off. He's really pissing me off. Listen to this shit. Okay, no, I have to. I said I was done. These were his quotes. I knew that I had read this shit. He said, working for Mr. Combs made my world so much bigger in such short period of time. He's saying this about Diddy. He has an extremely infectious vibration. Well, he knows about vibration with those little rubber duckies. He said, he has an extremely infectious vibration. You're around him and you feel his excitement. In what way? In what way did you feel his excitement, my guy? And that working for Diddy was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So it does not sound like he's not friends with Diddy anymore. It sounds like they've been pen pals since Diddy's been in jail. That's what it sounds like. And it says he's given the energy of, and I'd work for him again, and I would do it again. It's really pissed me off. Yeah. He said he didn't trust the hotel staff and cleaned up very carefully after Diddy. And that he felt an element of guilt for not stopping the violence. An element of guilt. Oh, you feel a little guilty. You feel like a little bit guilty about it. He felt an element of guilt, guys. So, like, he's an ambitious kid, though. God, he's such a piece of shit. Like, he's such a piece of shit. I wonder what he did. Like, in order for him to get immunity and really tried that hard not to testify, I have to know what he knows, because, or what he's done, what he's willingly done, even, because the other people who've testified and have not, no one wants to be there testifying regardless, but like, they're scared for their lives. Not once has this guy ever said anything like that. In fact, he was like, this guy is amazing. Like, I would suck his dick again. Not sorry. This is the kicker. He said he still respects Diddy and that they have a complicated relationship. So it's not even alleged at this point anymore. Like, he's still up Diddy's ass. So, yeah. Okay, let's get through it. Kid Cudi. Really pissed me off. Really does. So before Kid Cudi testified, Amanda put in this note for me. I think it's funny. So she says there's a funny interaction where the lawyers actually debated whether Kid Cudi could talk about how his dog behaved after the break-in in his house in 2011, which is in a minute. But like, so the judge and like the lawyers are having this kind of like elbows, like, right, jokey little convo. So they're talking about that, and the judge like jokes, he's not going to testify about the dog though, right? And the prosecutor assured him, quote, he's not a dog psychic, and so the judge said he would allow it. All I'm saying is the prosecutor and the judge better not have a little like, they better not play golf on the weekends together. You know what I'm saying? There better be some separation. There. Okay, so Kid Cudi arrived on the stand today, Thursday, the last day of testimony for the week. It will resume next week. So let's talk about Kid Cudi's, shall we? So I can't believe this freaking thing deleted my photo. So I'm just going to pop this one back up here from my thumbnail, because this photo of Kid Cudi is actually from today at the courthouse. So I'm just going to leave this up here for a minute. And that's Cassie in the little photo that you see there. So Cassie and Kid Cudi dated and saw each other. There's some overlap there between when she was seeing both of these men. I'll just say that. Okay. So when Kid Cudi took the stand today, there was like a very palpable vibe shift from all of the testimonies from people inside the court and media that I've seen. He shows up to court today like this, right? In a leather jacket and jeans. Who does this at federal court? Like, it's just unheard of. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just like, he's on his own time, on his own vibe. Shows up, leather jacket, jeans, smoking a cigarette like this, just baller, before taking the stand. And I love that for him. Like, he does not give a fuck. Does not give a fuck. Oh, you should also know that those jeans weren't just jeans, baby. Those jeans were bedazzled little jeans. Yeah, he was like feeling himself today, baby. So he testified that he met Cassie back in 2008, and they were friends at first for like a couple of years, and then they started dating in 2011. But he said when he started dating Cassie, he did know that her and Diddy had some problems. So I guess that he knew at the time, like, she was seeing the both of them, and she would confide in him about some of the problems that they had. So he said, at some point, Diddy, because Diddy's going through Cassie's phone, he's going through all of her stuff, he's keeping tabs on her, he's a jealous little freak. He finds out that she's, quote unquote, cheating on him with Kid Cudi. I say cheat loosely because Diddy, you know? But he said when he's, so he said Cassie called him like really upset, crying, scared when Diddy found out about her and Kid Cudi dating. And he said that seemed weird to him because, like, okay, now you're away from this man that you don't even like, you don't want to be with, but he keeps pulling you back in. Like, so why are you this upset? But he was saying, she at that point asked him to pick her up, and that she sounded like, again, really scared, and it just was like off to him. So, they went to a hotel. He said he like bought her a hotel room, to keep her safe, because she was literally like, the stuff that she was saying to him is like she's scared for her life. And so he got her a hotel room. But then he said that one of Diddy's employees told him at the hotel that Diddy and some of his quote unquote associates were actually in Kid Cudi's house in that very moment. So while him and Cassie, like, he's trying to get Cassie to a hotel because she feels very unsafe and for valid reasons, one of Diddy's employees tells him, hey, Diddy and his quote unquote associates, aka Brute Squad, is at his house. And he's like, what the F? What do you mean they're in my house? So he calls Diddy. He just like calls Diddy, and he was like, hey bro, I just want to, like, let's just talk. Let's have a conversation. Which he wanted to square up with Diddy. That's exactly what that was. Like, he wanted to beat Diddy's ass, as he should, as I wish he would. But he said he just wanted to meet up with him or whatever. So then Diddy was like, he just wanted Kid Cudi to come back to his house. Just like, come over here, bro. Let's talk. I want to talk too. So come over here and let's talk. So Cudi goes back to his own house and like to confront Diddy. He wanted to, but when he got there, Diddy wasn't, like, he didn't see Diddy, but that he had bought gifts for his family. Cudi had, so there was like gifts for his family on the countertops that had all been gone through. Like, Diddy had opened all of the gifts that Kid Cudi had in his home. So Diddy broke into his home, allegedly, and went through all of the gifts, opened up all of the shit that he bought his family, private stuff. That's such a weird thing to do. Like, if you're coming there to, like, what? Is that just to let him know that he was there? Like, what do you guys think? Like, what would be the purpose of just opening the gifts, besides just being nosy? It's like seeing if something was expensive. But then he also said, whoever had been in his house also locked his dog in the bathroom. And that wasn't something that he ever did. Like, his dog was allowed to roam free or whatever. But yeah, his dog was locked or like shut in the bathroom, and all of his shit had been gone through. The fuck? You're messing with my dog? You're messing with my gifts and then my dog? Oh no, it is on. It is on. So he said he actually, like, legit, he was like driving around trying to find Diddy because he wanted to confront him. He was like, no, it's on site. So he was like literally driving around. Diddy, meanwhile, is probably just like running because he likes to intimidate and he's not used to people pushing back or fighting back. So Kid Cudi's like, hey, where are you at? I'm coming for you. And Diddy is on the next flight out of town on his private jet, I assume. I don't know that part for sure. But yeah, so when he didn't find Diddy, he was like, okay, I better call the cops. So he actually did call the cops. This is one of those instances where there is a paper trail and like a police report to corroborate what the witness is saying. So he filed a police report about the instance, or called the police, and there's record of that. And then in 2012, he says he gets a call from his like dog watcher, whatever person, the person that's taking care of his animals that were locked in the bathroom, but to tell him that his car was on fire in his driveway. Yep. So that's where those photos come back into play. So I'll pull those back up here. So this is what we started hearing on the news about, like Kid Cudi's car exploding and all of this. So here's one of the photos that the feds used in court. I mean, the top of that car is bye-bye gone. It is gone. He said a Molotov cocktail had been thrown inside the car and it was completely damaged beyond repair. And I remember reading, I don't know if it's my notes here, but I remember reading or hearing that Diddy had told him after the fact, like he wanted his friends to, like when he was going to like beat the shit out of him and Cassie and make them pay, he wanted to make sure that Kid Cudi's friends were there to witness it. Like it wasn't enough that he just do something of that caliber, but he wanted Kid Cudi's friends to be witness to it as like an intimidation, I don't know, gangster thing, who knows. So he said after his car got the top blown off of it, he said he set up a little meeting with Diddy. Like, yo, do you have any time on your Outlook? Because, like, can you pencil me in? I'm just trying to see something. That's pretty crazy. Let me take this photo off here for you guys. I had other photos. Who knows where they are? I really hate this. It's really annoying. I've got to get someone to just do this part of it for me so these lives go a little bit smoother, but appreciate all of you guys being here, and I'm going to check in with the chat in just a second. So he sets up this meeting with Diddy, and this is another psychotic Diddy moment, which there are plenty. There are so many, but he says he sets up this meeting, and then he says when he pulls up, because I believe I read that it was like at a private like club, or I don't fucking know, like a fucking golf place. I don't know. But he says he pulls up and Sean is standing there staring out of the window with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. Hold on. Don't mind my sweatpants. So he's like, this is how I imagine it, like this, right? I don't know. You guys can demonstrate what you think it is. Let me know. Like, how does one embody a super villain like that? That's when the courtroom laughed. Okay. So he was making a little jokey jokes up there. He was like, yeah, he's like, I pulled up there and he looked like a freaking like super villain, like a Marvel super villain. But like he made it a point of like not a cool one, you know, not like a cool super villain, like a badass kind of thing, but just kind of cheesy, you know, that's kind of corny. That's kind of cheesy. Yeah, made them all laugh. And I think that's great. I think it's great. This guy must be super charismatic. Shit. So the defense was asking him about his relationship with Cassie. And he admitted that he felt played because she was like dating both of them. And then after all of this, after everything that Diddy did and like blew up kid's car and like threatened them and like all this shit, she ended up ditching Kid Cudi for good and going back to Diddy. And so he felt very betrayed and played. And I can imagine that's definitely how it felt at the time, not knowing, you know, all the circumstances. So he says in 2015, him and Diddy actually ran into each other at a club. And Diddy swore up and down that he wasn't responsible for the car and that he wanted to, quote, apologize for everything and all that bullshit. You mean like breaking into my house and opening up my family's presents and locking my dog in the bathroom and then blowing up my car? Yeah. Kid Cudi said that he, quote unquote, found peace after that point. So he found peace, guys. So he felt fine about it, whatever. And then he said Cassie told him, like, when they were dating, that Diddy would sometimes hit and kick her, but she never mentioned anything about the like weird sexual abuse element that was going on. So he didn't know about that part. He knew about the physical abuse. The defense questioned him a whole lot about, and basically focusing on Cassie and her dishonesty about the relationship, because she was the first person that came out publicly about Diddy. right? So she's the one who started this snowball effect and the reason he's behind bars right now, at least to the public's knowledge. So the defense is doing everything that they can to discredit her, and they're using Kid Cudi as part of that, or at least they're trying to. And basically accusing Cassie of living a double life. And they even tried to present like risque photos of Cassie to to basically dig on her reputation, like, and her sexual history and all of that. Do they ever do that for dudes? Of course not. Of course fucking not. They're not even like, have they ever mentioned that Diddy's promiscuous? No, but they're going to fucking say that every chance they get about every single woman on here. So yeah. The defense was trying to cast doubts whether or not Diddy was responsible for setting the car on the fire. And so that was the end of Kid Cudi's testimony. And then there was a makeup artist, a former makeup artist of Diddy's, that ended up testifying as well. And she said she grew up with Cassie and knew them a long time, but Diddy was very, very controlling about Cassie's makeup. Like, brother, please, like, leave a woman alone. Like controlling about her makeup. So, I mean, just a little abusive. But yeah, she said Sean was always making sure that her look was perfect, and we had to report back to him with pictures. So he was literally had his hand in everything. She said back in 2010, Cassie actually had facial injuries. And then she also recalls hearing Diddy like yelling and screaming at her. And then when Cassie came out of the room, she had like a big swollen bruise on her face and her eye. And a busted lip and some injuries on the head as well. So like she got the shit beat out of her while her makeup artist is in the next room. So she said that she took Cassie to her house, had one of their doctor friends look at her and check out the injuries, but she didn't call the police because she was worried for her own safety, which again is a theme that we're kind of seeing throughout a lot of these witnesses. And I think for good reason. So that's the gist of it. There are some other people that have testified as well. The last thing I will say is that this is the part that ties back to Biggie, is that they had a computer forensic analyst guy give testimony about some of the stuff they found on the computers during the raid. Basically, he looked at Cassie's computers and said that one of them had the login name Frank Black. And Frank White was Biggie's, was that his real name? Let me not butcher this. I know you guys know in the comments. Let me go to the comments real quick. Yeah, you guys are right. Let me pull some of these up here. This one got me. Exactly. It's the double standard of it all. It's the double standard of it all. Absolutely a power trip. Like, that's his whole life. That's his whole life theme, is he's on a power trip. Like, imagine, I don't know. Like, I'm torn on sometimes with these kinds of people. It's like, is his confidence that high? Or is it actually like he hates himself deep down in his confidence, like he's very insecure and it manifests this way? Because that does happen. I don't know. See, exactly. It'd be over. I can kind of see why Kid wanted to hunt him down. It probably just wasn't about Cassie. He was like, I'm sorry, you touched my dog? You touched my dog? It's on. Oh, this is an interesting take. I like this. Sadia, if you have to leave, thank you for being the mod. If you need to leave, this one has gone really long, so no worries. No worries at all. You've done a fantastic job. Thank you for being our moderator tonight. I appreciate you guys. And you and Lissa checking out the merch and all that. Makes me feel special. Thank you guys. But yeah, so basically the whole using the other name, the Frank Black, Frank White thing is like to Biggie and his memory. And that's really upsetting to a lot of people, to the public, but to a lot of, I'm sure, to the people in Biggie's life and his family and all that. So yeah, so that's essentially the end of all of this for this week. The testimony will resume next Tuesday, I believe. So then we can do all of that. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. But also, I would love to know in the comments what you guys want to do with these updates moving forward, because this is the first one I've done in a while, and this is a lot of information. And not having someone to kind of manage the screen sharing aspect of it and all of that, it makes it extra challenging. And so I just want the time that we spend together to be efficient and informative and organized. I love to be organized to the best of my ability. So, you know, should we break this up into, should I do a live to cover Monday and Tuesday updates and then one for Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing? Or would you rather just have everything summed up at the end of the week? So I'm open to ideas. I don't know. Yeah, we're all figuring this out. And I'm going to be doing a lot more lives. For those of you who have stuck around, I do have a lot, like some big life updates, which some of you, Lissa and Sadia, I know both of y'all already know because we talked about it in Patreon. But yeah, so we're this summer are relocating to Spain. And so life has been very busy lately with that. It's a ton of work to immigrate. Who knew? So yeah, so I'm switching over to doing lives and doing probably just like one long form video per month, like the deep dives like I've been doing, and doing lives more often about not just Diddy, but just stuff in the news and kind of summarizing things that are going on and just staying abreast of all of the things, and not just celebrities, but, you know, some things political, some things just entertainment wise, or scandals or scams, you know, just kind of like the general subject matter we already cover anyways on this channel, but just in a live version, because I like interacting with you guys. I want all of us to build more community here. And it's also with all of the life changes that are going on right now, it makes the creation process harder to make content and get it out to you guys on any consistent basis and in a good time frame. That's the challenge, is like the creation process is very long from start to finish behind the scenes. And yeah, I just want to make it more efficient and enjoyable for both sides of the camera, for you guys and for me, you know. So yeah, let me go to the chat. Those kind of the updates. Appreciate, again, all of you guys being here. Thank you. Check out the merch if you guys haven't already. KinderlyBryan.com. It's in my YouTube banner. It's in my YouTube link. It should be in the description of this video. Let's look at some of these comments. Yes, so this was supposed to be another witness, and then I'll be done. This was supposed to be another witness, but she refuses. I believe she was an assistant and then a girlfriend. So she worked for Diddy, but then was also dating. But yeah, she refuses to testify. And the prosecution was like, well, we could make her testify if we wanted to. Then why aren't you? She's just gone. So I don't know where she's at. Hopefully she's okay. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback too. Ooh, this one's good. Lori Vallow. Add her to the list of people I want 5 minutes with. I think you're referring to Lori Vallow. I don't think it is. I've honestly been consumed with this Diddy thing, so I haven't checked on that in the past few days. I feel like, yeah, Sadia would know. But yeah, all right. Thank you guys for being here. There you go. There's your answer. Leave a comment if you're watching this later. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want next, what I should cover, how often you want to see it, and all of that. give the video a like, and I will see you guys next time.